In today's video, I'm going to show you one of the safest ways to clean your engine bay without causing any damage to your car. So I'm sure many of you have this mega fear when it comes to cleaning engine bays that you are going to cause a lot of damage just by using a pressure washer. And that's fair enough. Not everybody wants to start jumping down that route because you might get liability issues. And when it comes to insurance, that's something nobody wants to deal with. So instead today, we're going to keep things as simple as possible. I'm going to give you a rundown of every single item that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to show you how to get fantastic results. So by the time this video is finished, you will have all the knowledge that you need to clean your own engine bay. And if that's not enough, I'm going to share even more tips in the description below. We're using a variety of old tools, so don't go using your nice ones and make sure that you have some old microfiber cloths too. Because we're not using a pressure washer today, we're actually using a pet dryer to blast away any old leaves and muck. And you will be surprised how much of a difference this can actually make to your cleaning regime owning one of these. The first thing I want to do is not actually cover the entire engine bay. I want to be doing a few sections at a time. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Because I'm out here, we have got a bit of cloud coverage, but we also get those breaks where we're going to have direct sunlight, and it becomes very difficult because it's going to dry out pretty quickly. And if you have been running the engine beforehand, it could heat up and it could dry a lot quicker. After we have blasted away the loose dirt, it's time to start from the top, as any remaining dirt or chemicals will drop down onto the engine bay. So we're just going to go around the gutters first, let it dwell, and then we're going to give it a little brush and a steam, and you'll see what happens. It's like magic, it will just come straight off. So the first thing I'm going to do is just give it a little agitation with a brush. This isn't going to get everything off straight away. That's why we've got the steam cleaner here, because that's going to help as well. So now we're giving it plenty of time to set in. We can now take our steamer and the brush, and we're going to just start blasting it and agitating at the same time. Watch. This process is very easy to perform if you stick to the routine of spray, steam, brush and wipe. And it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to do a good job around the outside of the engine. So I've taken care of doing the outside, and that is a good thing because we can now tick it off our checklist and we can move into the middle where the real stuff matters. This is where you're going to find the electrical components. This is the only bit where you really do have to be careful with what you're doing. I'm not saying it's going to happen to you, because in the last 15 years that I've done this business, it's never happened to me once, even with a pressure washer. But you can still never take these things for granted. You still got to be very careful with what you're doing. Now we're going to follow the same method, and most modern cars will easily be able to cope without covering the battery, as this amount of steam is not exactly the same as blasting it with tons of water. And when you think about how water gets converted into steam, just to perform this process, it's very minimal. And of course, if it's a classic car or something that's a little bit temperamental, then just take extra care covering the electrical components. And be careful of getting any steam into the alternator. And this is where the car dryer comes in, because if you do get any exposed wires wet, you may be able to salvage it by drying it instantly. And ideally you need to get the engine completely dry before we move on to the finishing stage. With the engine bay all dry, it's time to dress the plastics. And because there are so many products that I would like to recommend, I've listed some of my favourites in the description below. So we're just using a tyre dressing with a foam applicator pad, and I'll be spreading it around the trim and then following it up with an old cloth. And once you're finished with the cloth, please don't wash it in the washing machine, as it will contaminate everything else in the wash. Unfortunately, it's one of those cloths that should just be binned. So it's as easy as that. It's honestly nothing to worry about, and it's not complicated either. And if you don't have a steam cleaner, then you could alternatively use a trigger bottle with water. However, it won't get you the same results, but nevertheless it will still give you a decent finish.